Hi guys, welcome to House of Boxing's HOB TV. This is episode 6. We want to first start off by thanking those that have subscribed, those that have viewed our channel, and those that have actually commented. We want to thank you guys. We're going to hop right into it. Today we're introducing a new segment. We're going to be going over some of the past week's news, the previous week's news since we weren't here. It's called Good Career Move, Bad Career Move. So I'm going to pass it over to my boy Steve. He's going to go into that segment.
First of all, like David said, we want to thank all the new viewers, subscribers. We had quite an uptick in viewers and subscribers. I think our ratings are right up there with the San Diego Fleet now, so we're very excited about that. But yeah, we got a new segment called Good Career Move, Bad Career Move, and how this works is that we're going to pick one fighter who was in the news this week, and if we think he made a good career move this week, we're going to pick up the Canelo thumbs up sign, and if we think he made a bad career move, we're going to pick up the Adrian Broner talk to the hand sign. And you might be thinking, why Broner for bad? Is, well, because we haven't forgotten that performance against Manny Pacquiao. Yeah. The 4 punches landed per round. So he's in the doghouse with us. So let's get started on this good career move, bad career move. And the first guy up is Tyson Fury. Was in the news this week. Pulled out last minute of a rematch against Deontay Wilder. It was all set to take place in May at the Barclays Center in New York. Dave, do you think it was a good career move for Tyson Fury to postpone this and cancel it, or a bad career move?
I personally think it was a good career move.
So we agree on that one.
Good career move. Personally, I think it's a good career move based on the fact that, hey, he's making money. He's going to take it slow with his career. His first fight back was against Deontay Wilder in a war. So you got to give him credit for that. And I forgot how long he was out. So he deserves a good payday. He deserves to get himself back up to that elite level. Maybe that would be the difference in their rematch. And that'll definitely, I think he'll end up beating him.
Yeah. I'm going to have to agree with you. I mean, obviously, a deal was set in place, as we mentioned, but all things changed when Bob Arum and ESPN came into the picture. Fury and his British promoter, Frank Warren, are collaborating with Arum to bring Fury to the U.S. and have his fights shown on the ESPN platform. Now, although it wasn't a popular decision for him to pull out last minute, the move gets him more exposure with the U.S. audience, which is something they could use. I mean, the first fight only got 300,000 pay-per-view buys. Yeah. For a big heavyweight fight, the numbers don't really add up to the big fight as it was in picture. So I see it as a good move. I mean, more exposure means more money, means more viewers. Why would he be upset at Tyson Fury for that? They are prize fighters, so they're fighting for that ultimate prize, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so our second fighter, news item of the week, is Canelo Alvarez, pictured in our cards here. In a recent interview with ESPN Deportes, Canelo Alvarez stated that he would like to unify the titles at 160 this year and then be open to the possibility of facing Sergey Crusher Kovalev possibly next year in 2020 at 175. Now, Dave, do you think it's a good career move or a bad career move for Canelo to face Kovalev next year? I'm going to raise up my Broner card.
I'm going to raise up a good move. Canelo, good move.
Broner right here.
I mean, look at Canelo Alvarez, man. He's already started at 154, okay? Jumped up to 160, jump up to 168, and he sees just like Mikey Garcia, everyone wants to compliment him on going against Earl Spence and jumping up in weight and beating him. I feel like, hey, you should give Canelo some credit for going up to 175, and if he wants to fight Kovalev, hey, why not? And he's making his, like, what does he say? Do it your way, right? So he's doing it his way, man, and I think it's a good career move, man. He's gonna get, if he gets that fight, I think it would only solidify his legacy.
Okay. Well, I raised up the Broner card, but I think it's more bad than good. But, I give him props for having that ambition, desire, cojones to want to go up to 175. But here's my thing why I raised up the bad card. If you're going to go up to 175, fight the best at 175. Kovalev is going to be 36 years old next year, Yes, he had a great performance in his last fight versus Alvarez, but before that, we were already writing his obituary as a fighter. We already thought he was done, right?
Yeah.
So who's to say that he's not going to be done next year, and he still goes up and fight this guy? Kovalev will still be a name, but if you're going to go up to 175, fight the top guys. Better be Vol. Zurdo Ramirez is going to be up at 175. So if he gets acclimated to that weight class, why not call him out for a fight? Canelo went up to 168, fought Rocky Fielding. I would have liked to have seen him fight a little bit better opposition. So if he's going to be moving up, fight the top guys. With that said, don't be surprised to hear names between 147 and 175 for potential Canelo opponents. I could definitely see maybe this time next year, in 2 years, year and a half, Earl Spence fighting Canelo Alvarez. He's at 147 right now. I heard them
mentioning that.
Right? Yeah. Canelo mentioned today that he'd be open to a Jaime Munguia fight. Jaime Munguia is at 154.
Yeah.
So don't be surprised to hear all these different fighters, with big names as potential Canelo opponents. Right?
They want to get paid, right?
Exactly. That big money.
Yeah.
Like AB. Okay, so our next fighter, news item of the week, Jesse Vargas. On April 26th, on the undercard of Gallito Estrada, Sorangvisai 2, Jesse Vargas is making his junior middleweight debut against a fighter to be named later. The goal for Vargas, the move up, is for him to eventually face Jaime Munguia at 154. David, do you think it's a good career move or bad career move for Jesse Vargas?
I'm going with nothing but good career moves here, man.
You're positive this week.
I'm a positive guy,
I'm being a little negative with the AB here.
Hey,
maybe I just like raising the AB card, I
don't know, but look at, I think it's a good career move for him, man. I mean, he got nothing to lose. He's fighting against Munguia, a young fighter, still young. And he's going to fight against, obviously Vargas is looking for a payday here. And I think it's a good fight, man. He can definitely give Munguia some trouble. I think it's a good career move. I think it's a good fight for him. And like I said, it's a winnable fight for him. So I see it as being a good career move.
I'm just gonna put my AB card here for the rest of the show.
Yeah,
since I'm being kind of negative today.
Negative Nancy.
But I'm gonna say it's a bad move for Vargas, but a good move for Munguia. So hold this card up for Munguia. Yeah. I understand that Vargas can't make 147 anymore. Yeah. But let's face it, the guy to me was still improving at 147. At 6 fights at welterweight, he has a record of 2-2-2. He didn't necessarily dominate that division against guys his own weight.
Yeah.
Now at 154, I don't think that would be any different. I kind of see his path at 154 and Munguia being the same as Saddam Ali, who beat Miguel Cotto at 154 but got totally dominated, decimated by Jaime Munguia. I see the same thing happening to Jesse Vargas. I don't think he handles that weight very well.
I'm going to have to disagree with you. Man. I think, like I mentioned before, I think Munguia is just... He's still young. It's still early in his career. I think Jesse Vargas can definitely give him some different looks, man. I mean, look how Munguia looked in his last fight, man. He didn't look that good either. So it's definitely a good fight, a good move for Jesse Vargas because in his career he needs a big win. And I think in Munguia's career he still needs something to prove too. Because I mean, in my opinion, beating Saddam Ali wasn't too impressive. I mean, even though he came out of nowhere and beat him. But like we mentioned, Saddam Ali's a 147-pounder, man.
Yeah.
If anything, even smaller than that. So. But
if Jesse Vargas couldn't capture that big win at 147, I don't see him doing it at 154.
Well, we're gonna have to see.
He's a great commentator on the Zone. I love listening to the guy.
Yeah.
Has a beautiful, girlfriend, right? But props to him for that. But okay, so we're gonna move on to another hot news item of the week. The Canelo-Jacobs presser kicked off in New York City yesterday.
Yeah.
Dave, what are your initial thoughts from what you heard, from what you saw, the comparison between the two fighters?
I think it's going to be a great fight, man. I mean, both of these guys are confident. Jacobs has confidence, man. Canelo confidence is to the roof. And I think they both understand. They're both gentlemen in the sport. They both respect each other. But at the end of the day, they both have that mentality to win. Jacobs said a few things, saying he's the bigger man. He feels like the judges are not going to be on his side. Canelo feels like, those are excuses. And I think it's all just to sell the fight right now, man. I mean,
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, they're both going to come in ready for the fight. It's going to be an exciting fight.
Yeah.
But they're doing a good job with selling the fight. And I like the fact they're not really talking trash. They respect each other's ability in the sport, and they both seem confident, man. And that's what you want to see in an elite fighter.
Yeah, I mean, they're both classy guys, so any little quote they make is going to be blown up to sell the fight. Jacobs just made a small quip about the judging and how Canelo has gotten favorable judge's decision in the past. Canelo answered back with, if Jacobs is concerned with judging, he already lost in his mind. I just think it's all hearsay, you know. I don't think there's mind games really going on. There was a significant size advantage, which we already knew going into this. Jacobs looks like the much larger man, but at 5'8", Canelo, you know, that's going to be the case with everybody Canelo fights pretty much from here on out. It's going to be an interesting fight. Both styles mesh pretty well. I see Jacobs a little bit on the downslide, on a decline based on his last few fights. He's been in the game a lot longer than Canelo, but I'm expecting a tactical, smart fight. Yeah,
it's going to be a good fight, man. I give Jacobs the first 4 rounds. He's going to use his legs, move a little bit, but I think Canelo's going to end up catching him, man. Work the body, slow him down, and catch him in the end, man. Catch him like maybe 8th, 9th round, and put him down.
I think so. I think that
put him down.
I think that's a wise.
But actually, I'm gonna have to disagree with you with the height. I mean, dude, pictures off of pictures, I feel like it's kind of like maybe a couple more inches or whatnot, you know. So it's not too bad, man.
About 2.5, 3 inches.
Yeah, it's not too bad, man. But I mean, Canelo has a big body frame, which makes up for that.
Makes him look large.
Exactly. Makes him look large, man. He has a big body frame, man. He has some big legs where, you know, he generates some of his power. So, I mean, it'll make a great fight, man, and I'm excited to watch it.
No, you know, Oscar De La Hoya, he's like a car salesman when it comes to these fights, man.
Oh, yeah.
I'll never forget him saying that Canelo-Chavez was like the Super Bowl of Mexican boxing, which was totally absurd. Yeah. But he says this fight's going to be comparable to Chavez-Meldrick Taylor 1. I definitely don't see it that way. What about you?
I could see it, man, because you know what? Jacobs does like to stay in the pocket, and he does like to bang at times, which can be his downfall in this fight. But, hey, Jacobs has that heart, man, and he's shown it. He's shown it with Triple G. He lost a close decision right there. And, hey, I could see it being a great fight that way.
Now, you mentioned Triple G.
Yeah.
We were hoping to have some exciting news about him signing with DAZN.
Yeah.
We keep hearing these things every week that he's close to signing.
All teasing. Yeah.
Pretty much the numbers are pretty right on, okay? The 2-fight deal with DAZN for $42 million. But there was something that came out this week that was not accurate, was not correct. They had reported that Triple G was getting equity with DAZN, and that's why he was going to sign with them. Eddie Hearn came out and said that's not true. No fighter, nobody's getting equity in DAZN. So as of right now, as it still stands, DAZN are the front runners to sign Triple G. 2 fights, $42.5 million. I'm thinking, you know, with these news items that keep coming out every week, I think they're giving like Al Heyman and the PBC an opportunity to kind of catch up to that offer to DAZN, man. I mean, you know, I don't think you could really count them out right now. They could come in with a last-second offer.
Yeah.
You know, like a $50 million offer to beat DAZN's offer. But I don't think it would be very wise for Al Heyman and PBC to pay Triple G that amount more than DAZN, because let's face it, the biggest fight they could offer Triple G is a fight against Charlo. Yeah.
And he's stuck.
Exactly. That's not going to be a bigger fight than Canelo, the third Canelo fight.
Yeah.
Money-wise, it's not going to sell that well. So I think he'd be wise to just stick with DAZN, just go that route.
Yeah, he definitely has more room to play, and with DAZN, definitely DAZN runs the middleweight division. The only person PBC has is Jermell Charlo. So I mean, hey, if he's looking for longer term, I mean, I would definitely go with DAZN. Especially right now, they're offering a little more money, but I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. We'll see. Very last news item of the week: Shawn Porter, man. Against his March 9th fight with Ugas.
Yeah.
It's not doing that well at the box office, bro. they're offering 50% off tickets.
50%.
So if you want to see a fight at the StubHub Center, and yes, we're still going to call it the StubHub Center. We know it's changed names. 50% off Shawn Porter, Ugas tickets. What does that tell you about this fight, bro?
Oh, man. I mean, unfortunately, it tells me that Porter doesn't really have a big name yet, man. Porter, you know, even though he's an exciting fighter, I think he has to go up with a bigger name for him to sell tickets, man. So, unfortunately, I mean, they have to go 50% off. They have to make their money back. So, I mean, I'll watch it just because it's on, what is it, on Showtime or Fox?
Yeah,
so
it should be on Fox.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'll watch it, but I'm not sure if I would be a fan of actually going to the fight.
Yeah, I have to agree. You know, Shawn Porter name value, it just isn't there right now.
Yeah.
He needs another dance partner with a big name for him to sell. Ugas isn't a household name, and outside of hardcore boxing fans, nobody could tell you who the guy is.
Yeah.
So it's smart for them to offer 50% off tickets. It's kind of unprecedented for Vegas fights, LA fights. I've never seen that before. But it kind of just goes to show you that the interest isn't really there for that fight, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, moving on. This past weekend, what did we see? From Tijuana, we saw Brandon Rios versus Humberto Lazorita Soto. It was an exciting fight. Yeah. Soto was coming in as a 7-1 underdog, pulled off the victory. Yeah. Out hustled. He lived up to his name, Zorita. You know, the sly fox. He stole the last 20 seconds of every round, pretty much, to out hustle the younger, bigger opponent. Yeah, man, I was watching that fight. I thought it was a good fight, man. They were older guys. I mean, they're both exciting fighters. We want to say congratulations to Zorita Soto and his trainers, Don Romulo and Bobby Kirate. They're from the La Crea Boxing Gym in Tijuana. Good people, man. Good friends of ours here at the House of Boxing. Good, humble people in the sport, which is rare, man. And they're good people. So we want to say congrats to them. It was a good fight on their part, man. I mean, he fought the cleaner fight. He landed the cleaner punches, more effective with his punches. And just, you know, it was sad watching Brandon Rios, man. Kind of was, yeah.
You know, I was watching it and just like, man, like, he was really slow, lethargic. It looked like, you know, he had trouble making weight, obviously, so that played its toll. And he had zero defense, man. It's just sad to see that guy get hit. I mean, nonstop. It's sad, man. And personally, I just think he should retire, bro.
Oh, definitely.
Straight up.
Definitely.
He needs to hang him up. He's already a little punch drunk as it is, man, and it's only going to get worse, man. So you really got to start looking into his health and his well-being, man. And hey, and Zorita Soto earned himself another payday.
Exactly.
That's so important. Congrats to him for that. You know.
Yeah, he won't really be a player in the 147 division. Yeah. He can't really hang with the big names of that division. But he did get himself another paycheck.
Exactly. And the good thing about him is he has that defense, man. He has that head movement where he can make it difficult for some young fighters.
So kind of like a gatekeeper for that division, right?
Yeah, definitely.
But, you know, let's not mistake it. This was supposed to be a showcase for Brandon Rios.
Yeah.
He's the one that had the 3-fight deal with DAZN. This was the last of it. I'd be very surprised if they renewed that contract and gave him a couple more fights. Yeah. The guy struggled in the last couple rounds. The 38-year-old, he had every advantage, the size, the youth, and he got out-hustled by a 38-year-old, past his prime fighter. So, I would like to see him retire as well. Yeah. But moving on to our centerpiece right here. Last week marked the 19th anniversary of Morales versus Barrera. Now, if you're a Mexican boxing fan, chances are that your DNA is consisted of 3 things: tequila, tacos, and Morales versus Barrera. Considered one of the greatest, if not the greatest, super bantamweight fight of all time. This rivalry kicked off with a disputed claim from Morales that he had in fact owned and knocked down Barrera in a sparring session long before their first encounter. Barrera always dismissed those claims. Of war, words erupted. bad blood ensued, which would be the backdrop to this epic rivalry. Now, originally airing on HBO on February 19, 2000, Mexico City's Barrera and Tijuana's Eric Morales battled for the WBC and WBO version of the super bantamweight titles. Morales would go on to win that epic first encounter via split decision in a fight that would go on to win 2000's Fight of the Year. The rematch would take place 2 years later, with Barrera taking both that fight and the third. Now, Dave, I don't know how you scored the first two fights, but I thought the decisions were a little bit reversed, as I saw Barrera winning that first fight and Morales the second. How did you score the first two fights, and what do you think overall of this?
I thought overall, man, the fights were scored well, man. I mean, they were definitely close fights, and I mean, the bad blood between them added fuel to the flame. It was just a great fight, a great boxing fight, great rivalry. That's definitely my favorite in the sport of boxing, man. These two guys went at it. You've seen Barrera use his boxing skills in the last two fights. The first one was just a straight-out war, throwing beautiful combinations to the body, up the middle, or whatnot. So, I mean, it's definitely up there with one of my favorite rivalries of all time.
Oh, definitely, definitely. Now, in honor of that trilogy, we're going to be ranking the best rivalries, trilogies, or quartets, which are 4-fight series of the last 20 years. So we're ranking the best rivalries of the last 20 years.
Rankings.
We've compiled a list of 5 fights, and they are as follows: Gotti versus Ward, Barrera versus Morales, Marquez versus Vasquez, Pacquiao versus Marquez, and Eric Morales versus Pacquiao. So we're going to show you our list. Dave's going to tell you who he has from 5 to 1.
I'm going to go first. My five here, I got Gotti versus Ward. And again, before we hop into this, everybody's list is going to be different, man. I probably change this thing 3 to 4 times.
Everybody's going to have a different number 1. That's a fact.
Oh, man, because, I mean, I had to change it a couple times. I wasn't sure, but my number 5 is Gotti Ward. Number 4, Pac-Man versus Morales. Number 3, Vasquez Marquez. Number 2, Marquez Pacquiao. And number 1, right here, Morales versus Barrera. My number 1 rivalry, Morales versus Barrera. Clean boxing fight. That's it. My number 5. My 5.
Not a bad list, but I would have to say mine's a little better. No, number 5 for me is Pacquiao versus Morales. Okay, first fight of that series was one of my favorite all-time fights. Nobody could forget Morales' performance in that first fight. That 12th round where he switched stances and fought Pacquiao as a southpaw. Number 4, I got Gotti versus Ward. Number 3, I got Barrera versus Morales. Number 2, I got Pacquiao versus Marquez. I mean, what could we say about those epic 4 fights?
Yeah.
Pacquiao versus Marquez had the most definitive ending out of all these fights. Those two fighters were more elite. You had Pacquiao number 2 ranked pound for pound, Marquez number 3 ranked pound for pound. So to watch two fighters in that era in their primes going at it back and forth, man, that was quite something.
Yeah.
And number 1 for me, I have the 4 fights with Rafael Marquez and Israel Vasquez. Brutal fights. You had everything. You had knockdowns. Both fighters were never the same after that. Israel Vasquez lost the eye.
Yeah.
Eventually, he would go on to lose his right eye because of the brutality of those fights. Named fights of the year. So those are our lists. Like we said, we understand you're going to have a different number 1.
Yeah.
You're probably at home saying, how could you have Gotti Ward number 5, number 4, Morales Barrera? But those are our lists. We would like to hear yours, right?
Yeah, so we want to thank you guys for tuning on in.
Well, we got something going on Saturday here.
That's true for bringing that up. Tomorrow we are having an amateur boxing event here at the House of Boxing, Rumble on Rio. 1 p.m. is showtime, so make sure you guys come on out. We got gyms from all over San Diego, Riverside, Indio as well. We got some fighters coming down. So make sure you guys come in tomorrow, House of Boxing, 1 p.m. Make sure to come in and check it out. We want to thank you guys again for tuning on in. Make sure you guys stay tuned for next week's episode. Thank you guys very much.
Thanks, guys.